Chelsea against Newcastle as the Blues take on the Magpies after a tough international break with multiple injuries suffered by some incredibly important players, as Chelsea will try to keep their good run of form from before the international break going and pick up 3 points against the new Giant Killers in our chase for top 4. Hello there guys and welcome back to Blues TV for another preview of mine on this channel as Chelsea take on Newcastle tomorrow afternoon on Saturday afternoon, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. The international break is finally over and it was worse than usual. It was worse than usual with all of those injuries that were picked up, and of course I will talk about that later on in the video. And yes, in the intro I said chase for top 4, and I know it sounds a little bit crazy, and I know at the start of the season I said not happening. Not happening. But, you know, I did make a whole video what changed my mind and why I think we can actually make top 4 over on my channel. So if you want to head over there, watch that and subscribe, that'd be massively appreciated. Of course, if you're new to Blues TV, also be sure to subscribe over here and, you know, drop a like on this video. That would be massively appreciated. But now, no more fuffling about, and let's just get into the video. And as usual, starting it off by speaking about our opposition, Newcastle. And of course, Newcastle currently sit in 16th on 8 points from 8 games with 2 wins, 2 draws and 4 defeats and a goal difference of -8. Too many 8s in here. 8 points, 8 games, -8 of a goal difference. Scoring 5 goals but conceding 13. Although, to be fair, 5 of them have come against Leicester, where they had a man sent off at 1-0 down early in the first half. So I guess that is slightly of a flawed stat in that case. And the Magpies are a really strange team, like really strange so far this season. Like I said, they just have 2 wins so far this season. But who have those 2 wins come against? Bloody Tottenham and Manchester United. Okay, both of them are in a bit of turmoil at the moment. But Spurs at the time weren't actually doing that badly, or weren't in that bad of a situation as they are in now. So, you know, I absolutely love Newcastle for, you know, beating those 2, but please don't beat us as well. Like, please, it's enough of the giant killing now for the time being. Just not tomorrow, please. But that is the question. Are they the new giant killer now? Because they didn't manage to beat Arsenal, even though they could have at least gotten a point from that. But then they were battered 5-0 by Leicester, who, you know, okay, they're not giants per se, I guess, but they're still, you know, more than in the fight for top 4 this season because, you know, they're doing really well. They have a good team. So are they their new, you know, giant killer? Who knows? You know, maybe they just played Spurs and United on an awful day, or in Man United's case, I guess they just had Ole at the wheel, and you know what more can you expect, I guess. But I guess we'll find out tomorrow whether the new giant killers, because as you can see on screen, the other results really aren't anything to shout about. I mean, when you talk to Newcastle fans, especially before their win over United, they kind of accepted relegation already in their heads. At least some of their fans, obviously not all of them. Some are more pessimistic than others, but you know they weren't particularly happy. But still, they beat Spurs and Man United. It just really doesn't make sense. Technically, except for in one game, Newcastle have always gone for a 5 or 3 at the back formation this season. Most of the time it was a 5-4-1 or 3-4-3. It's basically the same thing, just whichever way you want to put it down on a formation sheet. It's kind of the same thing. And they rarely see much of the ball. Like, they really don't. That's the highest possession stat this season was 49% against bottom of the league side Watford. And other than that, they've never even gotten above 40% of the ball. So, you know, they really don't see that much of it in the majority of their games. And to be honest, it's even difficult to point out a particular danger man for them. I mean, they've scored 5 goals, like I said earlier, but 5 different goal scorers. While the only guy that has 2 assists, you know, and not just 1 or none, is former Blue Cristian Atsu. So, you know, even on that kind of front, there's no one standout player at the moment. Still, though, let's not underestimate Newcastle. Let's never underestimate Newcastle. Even more so when we play them away, but even when we're at Stamford Bridge, let's not underestimate them. Because while it's not an obvious, you know, danger man at the moment, they still do have some good players, like the new signing Saint-Maximin, or Saint-Maximin, whatever you want to pronounce it. Joelinton, you know, of course, the Brazilian striker, also Almiron, who they signed, and of course, I mentioned him, Cristian Atsu, while also defensively, Lascelles and Fabian Schär, you know, from Switzerland, are both very decent players. So, you know, we shouldn't underestimate them. And in my opinion, their biggest threat will likely be set pieces, you know, especially if Andy Carroll starts or when he comes on later in the game. So ideally, let's not concede any silly set pieces and, you know, it's just silly fouls really. And, you know, just have so much of the ball that they don't have any corners. That would obviously be good because I think they could really threaten us from set pieces. But the theme of the game will almost certainly be Newcastle defending very deep, being happy with a 0-0. And if they can try to nick a goal on the break or from a set piece, they will, but they will be happy with the 0-0. So it will be, you know, down to us, I guess, to break them down because they will be happy with that 0-0, while we, of course, won't be. But to be honest, that was really it from Newcastle or about Newcastle, and now getting into Frank Lampard's pre-match press conference. And of course, I mentioned it earlier already, it was a bad international break for us with multiple injuries to important players. You know, it was just bad. Like it wasn't good. At the moment, we really are injury FC, and it's so bloody frustrating. And that was, of course, the first thing that Lampard was, you know, asked about and spoke about. And the first thing he said is that N'Golo Kante is out again with a groin slash adductor problem. But the boss then also stated that he was really not, or is really not happy with how the French national team or the manager Didier Deschamps handled the situation. He picked up that injury in the warm-up to their first game of the international break, but then they didn't like send him back or anything. He did a fitness test the day before the second game. It was clear that he couldn't, play in the second game, but then he was just sat on the bench rather than sent back to Chelsea, which would have made so much more sense, so we can treat him the way we want, because, I mean, we pay bloody wages and we need him to be fit. I mean, France only have 2 more games in this year, in 2019. We have 2 games in the next 3 days, or 4 days, whatever it is. You know what I mean? He was not happy with it, and I'm not particularly happy with it either. Some good news on the other hand, though, is that Mateo Kovacic is in contention after training with the team for a couple of days already, while Andreas Christensen also picked up an injury on international duty and will miss about 2 weeks with a hamstring problem. But Antonio Rudiger, again, going back to some good news, while not in contention to feature just yet, is back to training on the pitch, which of course is great news, but he will still be a little longer before he's back playing, as he still needs to gain some match fitness, and will likely also feature for the development squad in a game or 2. Ross Barkley apparently also picked up an injury, but he's back fine. Didn't actually know about the Ross Barkley injury, so that was news to me, but he's fine, so it doesn't really matter. But then, as usual with these bloody journalists at these bloody press conferences, no one asked about the fullbacks. So we have absolutely no information at this point as I'm recording this, given on Emerson and Reece James, how they're doing. Of course, Emerson had that hamstring problem out for a while now that he picked up during the last international break. Then he was fine, not fine, but then he played against Liverpool, and then he had to be subbed off, and then has been out since then. He has been training. He has been, I'm pretty sure, in full training as well these last couple of days, just like Kovacic was. But what we've been hearing is that he's likely to still be rested this weekend against Newcastle tomorrow, but possibly could feature against Ajax in the Champions League on Wednesday, which of course would be huge. While Reece James, on the other hand, pulled out of the under-21s England squad due to a problem with the ankle that he had injured over the summer already, which of course isn't good, but again, another one that really wasn't particularly serious. Thankfully, a bit like the Kovacic one who picked up, just a knock and a twist to his knee or, thigh. There was various reports, I guess. But, it wasn't a serious one for Reece James either. He was back to normal training this week as well, just like Kovacic. But again, we don't know for sure whether that means, he's just fine, but they still want to just be better safe than sorry, I guess, and not play him, or whether he will feature, or whether he could feature, and if he doesn't, that's just down to a tactical decision by Lampard preferring Azpilicueta over him. We don't know that at this moment in time. Maybe we will find out later on, so if you want, please follow me on Twitter, and please follow the channel over on Twitter. The links to both of them are down in the description, because if there is any more news, you will find out from us over there. But now, coming to Chelsea and talking about how I think that we should, and how I think that we possibly will line up, and how also we should approach the game. Now, of course, if you know me, if you've watched some of my videos before, you know that even against Newcastle, who probably will be playing a 5 at the back or 3 at the back system, I would stick to the 4-3-3 formation, probably a mix of a 4-3-3 and the 4-2-3-1, which we always, I guess go for, which is, in my opinion, the most successful formation. If I was Lampard, I would be doing that. But we're slowly getting to know Lampard more and more as a manager of Chelsea. And what we've learned is that it's completely unpredictable. It's completely unpredictable. So anything from probably that, just like I just said, that 4-3-3 mix with a 4-2-3-1 to a 3-4-3, everything is possible. Possibly even a 3-5-2, who knows. But as it is so impossible to tell what he's going to go with, I will simply just tell you the lineup that I personally would start tomorrow. And to be honest, it is actually almost the same team that started against Southampton before the international break, with one exception in there, due to injury, but with one exception in there, of course. I said 4-3-3, even though some people keep telling me that it was a 4-2-3-1 against Southampton, when to me it was just that mix that I, touched on 3 times already now. Of course, Kepa will be in goal, has to be in goal. The 2 centre-backs, with the injuries that we have, kind of have to be Tomori and Zuma. Don't really have any other options. Rudiger's still out, Christensen is out, and, in a 4-3-3, and I don't think Reece James will start, so that's why Azpilicueta is an option at centre-back. So obviously, Reece James won't start, so Azpilicueta is one of the full-backs on the right, and I still think it will be Marcos Alonso at left-back. He's done all right recently, so I don't really have much of a problem with him playing out there against Newcastle tomorrow. Also with their threat from set pieces and height and stuff. Yes, I don't want to go back to the Sarri, that's why he's playing over Emerson. But sometimes it's not the worst thing to have Alonso, who has more height than Emerson, in the side. I wouldn't hate it, so that's my back four: Tomori, Zuma, Azpilicueta and Alonso. And then coming to the midfield 3, of course, in my 4-3-3, there's not much to say to it, really. Jorginho is the deepest of the 3, Kovacic to his right, Mason Mount to his left. I would just go with that. It's as simple as that. Kante is out. Barkley, I don't want to see playing at all. And who else do we have, really? Unlikely to start Billy Gilmour, let's be honest now. So, like I said, Jorginho, Kovacic and Mason Mount is the most likely. And then the 2 wingers, for me, they clearly have to still be Callum Hudson-Odoi and Willian, the same as it was against Southampton. I mean, both of those wingers have performed really well recently, and as much as I want Christian Pulisic to be given a chance, I don't think he warrants a start over those two at the moment. Even though he came on against Southampton and provided a really good assist for Michy Batshuayi, I don't think he warrants a start at the moment. And also, neither of the two travelled or played that much, like travelled far or played that much during the break. So they should also be both completely fine to play, both against Newcastle tomorrow and against Ajax on Wednesday. While, of course, Christian Pulisic travelled to America for jet lag and, long travel. Not the ideal situation. And yeah, like I said, even if it was the reverse situation, I would probably go with Hudson-Odoi and Willian because they've just been playing really well recently and just deserve to start again. And up front, of course, it will have to be and should be Tammy Abraham again, even if both Olivier Giroud and Michy Batshuayi weren't target for the international teams or for the national teams during the break. But that is my lineup. You could see it on screen. It is on screen still, I think. Not sure when I will remove it, but you can see it now. And then, like I said, there is also that chance of a 3 at the back, possibly with Aspie as one of the centre-backs. I mean, would have to be because we only have 2 available proper centre-backs, which is, again, why I wouldn't be a fan of it. Yes, I know we have Mark Gueye, who, of course, played in the Carabao Cup or in the League Cup, but still, it's not ideal. So I wouldn't go for it, but it is an option. Aspie as a centre-back, Reece James as the wing-back next to him. But you should know by now, if you watch my videos, that the 3 at the back, in my opinion, harms our attacking play so much that against a team that is likely to be very defensive, it would just be completely counterproductive and would just let them into the game way more than necessary, especially because you just can't dominate midfield anywhere near as well in a 3-4-3 compared to how well you can dominate it in a 4-3-3. Game-wise, like I said, we'll just have to expect Newcastle to sit very, very deep, so naturally the biggest challenge will likely to be breaking them down. And for that, as I keep saying pretty much in every preview, we need loads of movement from every single player on that pitch, especially, of course, in the attacking third, but also just the midfielders. Loads of movement, and then quick passing, and then, of course, obviously good finishing would be bloody helpful, wouldn't it now? Because, as always, I am confident we will create chances. We will create more the more we move and the quicker we pass, but we will create chances. I'm confident of that. We just need to take those chances. That is, of course, big, and ideally, in my opinion, we don't cross the ball too much. Please don't cross it too much, lads, because, as much as I rate Tammy Abraham, I really don't think he will win many headers in the box against those 3 centre-backs of Newcastle, who will, like I said multiple times now, most likely play a 5 at the back. So I don't think that will go particularly well, even though they will try to force us out wide. Go out wide, yes, but don't constantly just cross the ball in, because I don't think we'll have much, joy from trying to do so. And of course, we need to be focused and make sure we don't concede any dangerous counter-attacks. And then I think we'll be absolutely fine. I think we will be fine. We are, of course, the favourites going into the game. So score prediction-wise, I think this one could actually be a clean sheet. They've only scored 5 goals this season, and yes, they could, hit us from a set piece, but ideally we will have so much of the ball that won't actually be that much of a problem if we go 4-4-3-3. In the 3-4-3, different situation. But I think this could be a clean sheet, like I said, so I'm actually going to predict a 2-0 win, because they will still be, very solid defensively and not easy to break down, because the Leicester game where they lost 5-0 was a little bit of a crazy one. Possibly we, win 3-0. We will have to wait and see. Depends on how quickly we get our first and second goal. But generally, I think a 2-0 is a rather realistic prediction from my side. But yeah, to be honest, that was really it from me. I think I spoke quite quickly today. I do apologize for that. Don't know why. It just happens sometimes. But yeah, that was really it from me. If you are new here, like I said in the beginning, please be sure to subscribe to Blues TV. That would be massively appreciated. We keep growing, So if you are new here, please be sure to subscribe. There's, of course, these previews out of every game, reviews of every game, fan cams, just other midweek content as well. So be sure to subscribe. If you do fancy any of that, make sure you hit the notification bell button as well. Drop a like on this video if you did enjoy it. If you made it this far, just go down below and smash a like. That would be massively appreciated. And of course, leave me all of your thoughts ahead of the game down in the comment section below. Your score predictions, your predicted lineup, everything you want to share, I guess, just put it down in the comment section below. I do read bloody all of them, so make sure you put your thoughts down there. And yeah, that was it from me. Thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea, and I'll see you when I see you.